We are live. Hello everyone. Welcome to with that being said, I have a special guest returning for this episode. Go ahead and introduce yourself, good sir.
Hey, what's up everybody? My name is Ray and today's the day that we're going to do the second part. Thanks for having me, Mark. It's awesome.
No doubt, no doubt. Okay, so now what we're going to be doing is letting people, giving everyone a chance to maybe come and join us for this. In the meantime, between time, let us know if you guys hear any kind of echo or anything of that nature. Reason being, if you do, I need to plug in my headphones. But if you don't, we're all Gucci, and we can, start here in a little bit. But Ray, so have you read the second part, or?
I mean, I haven't read them, but I've seen, and I know what happens in the second one. But again, like I said last video, man, it's just gonna get crazier and crazier, and I think that mostly everybody will see that these may not be real the further and further we get into these. But yeah, man, they're insane.
Awesome. I heard, I'm a big fan of the theory that you were the one that wrote these leaks. Is that true, or?
Yo, you weren't supposed to tell anybody that, bro. Like, what's wrong with you? Like, damn, you just blowing up my spot like that?
Well, I know you're a master hacker, so, and that's another thing I want to address here, too, is, like, everyone's saying they're fake. And, they most likely, there's some plausibility to that. But I do want to discuss the fact that HBO was hit. And originally the outline, like, not only were the entire script for episode 6 and episode 7 leaked and that, but they also said that they had gotten the outline for season 8. So the scripts don't necessarily have to be finished in order for these leaks to be legit. You know what I mean? Because it's the outline. It's the, like, the major, like, when I'm not like an expert writer, but I know there's like several different steps that you go through before you write a script, and this was supposed to be like the entire overview of the season. So it makes sense of why the person who like posted these leaks filled in the gaps of like some of the dialogue. You know what I mean? Some of that dialogue was missing, so that's why some of it sounds really cheesy. But I don't know. We'll get into that.
I mean, again, I think they're just educated guesses. We know that some of these things have to happen before the series ends, but I do believe that some of these things are right. Some of these things will actually happen because they've been foreshadowed for 7 seasons. And the person who did this, I think. So I guess we're kind of like on opposite sides of this then, right?
Yeah, well, I mean, main reason being is because I haven't really seen enough of the later part of it. Like I'm familiar with episode 1 of the events that are supposed to happen in episode 1, like we went over the other day, but I guess I haven't just heard enough of it to definitively be like, okay, this is fake. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So as of right now, yes, but here in 10-15 minutes when we start getting on this, I might be joining your side. I'm just double checking to make sure the audio is good. We'll probably give everyone maybe.
Yeah, everybody's saying that it looks good.
All right, awesome. All right, cool. So, did you want to tell everyone? I know you kind of already said it, but go ahead and say it again, like where people can find you at. Plug yourself real quick.
Oh,
plug yourself.
Oh, yeah. Listen up, guys. My name is Ray, and today's the day that I'm gonna pitch y'all. That's how I start every video. Today's the day, and I just wanted to say you guys should definitely check my channel out. It's at Rayz De Alba. And I'll probably put the link in the description. I think the link is in the description down below. Mark put it down there. Check me out, definitely. Hope to see you guys there. And yeah, man, awesome stuff during the long night. Awesome collabs, awesome stuff. And I definitely hope to see some of you there. I know I do see a bunch of you guys on my channel there as well. Like, hi, I'm Allison. I don't know a bunch of you guys, but hey, like I said, check me out, Rayz De Alba. I would definitely like to see you guys there and talk Game of Thrones and, hear your thoughts on this awesome story and series.
All right, awesome. So let's go ahead and let's begin switching up the scenes. All right, so basically what we're gonna do is we're gonna switch off. I'm gonna read a paragraph. The Ray's gonna read a paragraph until we get to the end. We're gonna discuss it throughout, and then at the very end of this, maybe we'll do this for like, I don't know, maybe like an hour and a half or so. But at the very end, I want to take questions from you all, a beautiful people, a beautiful people. That's a Marilyn Manson reference. Did you get that one?
Yeah, I remember that song from SmackDown. I think it was in SmackDown, the game.
Yeah. Oh, dude, I used to play that all the time. Talking about like WWE.
Yeah.
That was like Kane's intro or something, right? Or The Undertaker.
I think it was just the game. That was like one of the only 5 songs in the PlayStation 1 game.
Oh, nice. That was all the memory that they could fit on those discs back then. All right, so yeah, let's go ahead and begin. All right, so the first, let's see. The episode will have a duration, and now mind you, these are not considered legit. You know, I haven't even started filming yet. Usually we'll have something like a bit of scenes that were filmed out in the open that we can kind of verify certain things along with the plot, but we don't even have that. You know, the actors have barely gotten their scripts yet. So take this with not even a grain of salt, but something smaller than salt, I guess, would be considered a grain of sand. So take this with a grain of sand. So the episode supposedly will have a duration of almost 2 hours, and the first scene will take place in the Great Hall of Winterfell. Jon, Daenerys, Tyrion, Davos, and Sansa are present here. Gendry and Tormund tell the rest that the wall has fallen, and the Night Watch has been destroyed. And it's actually called the Night's Watch, so since it was missing that S right there, this is confirmed this is a load of crap. Tormund also mentions that the Night King rides an undead dragon, and that they are severely... Bran Stark confirms Gendry and Tormund's story and tells that the Night King is on his way to Winterfell. You know, we saw that at the last episode 7 of season 7. We saw that Bran was using the Raven, so he would know about that. Jon Snow.
Would know immediately.
What were you saying?
He would know, like, that's where you know that's one of those off things. Like, he would know straight on the spot, right then and there. Yo, everybody, they crashed the wall. The wall came down.
That's like major
they're gonna
news.
wait for Tormund to come down to confirm it.
Yeah. Well, I guess it could be said that, you know, maybe Bran hasn't gotten the time to tell them yet, because you saw how he was with Daenerys. I feel like Bran could have sent the Raven. You know what I mean? He was watching that whole time. He knew when to send Benjen. So maybe Bran just has the lack of what? No,
look. So they were on East Watch. So Tormund goes to Night's Watch, Castle Black, and then from Castle Black to Winterfell, and Bran hasn't told them in all that time.
Exactly.
Like that's to me iffy. Like,
I mean, I guess they could you know how they do though. If the scene is focusing on characters that aren't with other characters, the amount of time that passes is immeasurable. It could be 10 minutes, it could be 30 minutes. So we could have seen, you know, Tormund get to Castle Black and it's focusing on Tormund. I'm just trying to play devil's advocate here. I know these are complete bullshit. They likely are. But one thing that's keeping me from fully joining to that side is the fact that everyone has said that about every single season so far that I've been doing this. So season 5 there was a script leak. Season 6, that I did videos on that, and parts of it were fake, but parts of it did get right. And then most recently in season 7, everyone was like, yo, this script sounds ridiculous, and it described it down to a T. So, you know, we have that. So I find myself playing devil's advocate a lot, but, you know, you don't really know the amount of time that will pass when you're with one group of characters to with the other one. So if they're focusing on if they're focusing on Tormund and Beric, then, you know, there could be, I guess, not enough time. Maybe it's just been one day and Bran hasn't quite woken up yet and gotten the chance to tell Jon. You know what I mean? Or Jon hasn't arrived in Winterfell, so we're focusing on all these different people. But anyway, let's continue on. Jon Snow tells the rest that they have no time to lose and asks Maester Wolkan to inform all of their banners, everyone in the north, to prepare themselves for war against the army of the dead. They need to prepare for an attack at the battlefield of Winterfell. Ray, what are your thoughts on that before you pick up with the next paragraph?
I mean, I don't know. Like, again, I'm gonna say it. I'm very, you know, on the fence with these, but I do believe that Winterfell, like one of the bigger battles in the upcoming season, will be at Winterfell. You know, like
it has to. Yeah,
it has. Yeah, like it seems like it's always pointed to that. Like Winterfell is like the capital of the North, and it had something big has to happen there. Like, to me, there's very few spots in the north that something big could go down. Like, Torrent Square is one of those other places that I've always wanted to see, and we won't see that. You know what I mean? So I guess probably Winterfell, it's one of the more practical places where it could all hit the fan. And we see that Sansa told everybody to go to Winterfell in the previous season, so it makes sense that there would be a huge battle right outside of Winterfell.
Yeah, and honestly, it would mirror, you know, the original battle that took place there that named Winterfell. You know what I mean? That's the place where the last Long Night was defeated. But do you want to go ahead and pick up with the next?
All right, wait, I gotta open it. All right, so after having to process a lot of the new information and struggling with his identity, wait, was that the paragraph that we were reading?
Yep.
That I need? All right. After having to process a lot of new information and struggling with his new identity, Jon Snow goes to the crypts to visit his mother, Lyanna, and his uncle, Ned. Daenerys notices there's something wrong with Jon and finds him in the crypts. She asks Jon what's wrong with him. Jon tells her that he even isn't called Jon Snow. He calls Jon Snow a lie people have made him believe all his life. Daenerys is confused and asks Jon for clarification, but Jon walks away from her. Daenerys notices that Jon behaves aloof towards her.
So, what are you? Do you want to take it off from there? I'll just kind of go off what you think.
All right.
I kind of want to. I was skimming ahead a little bit, and I don't really want to give my thoughts on that because something, I'll bring it up when we get to there. But yeah, go ahead.
No, but basically, the way I see it, this will possibly be a scene that happens. This is one of those more possible scenes that I could see something similar to this happening. I don't think it'll happen exactly like that, but I don't know if I think that Jon would be that upset over it. You know what I mean? I think that he would feel a certain way. He would be upset about it, but I don't think that he would be that mad over it because he knows that his uncle was trying to save him and help him. Like, you know what I mean? Protect him. It wasn't like a malicious thing. It was something that he knew, basically his uncle had to do.
Well, yeah. Jon has been a robot. You know what I mean? He doesn't really show emotion like a lot of other people do, but I think the fact that he's still, like, everyone else doesn't consider him a bastard, but he does. And because of that, I could totally see Jon Snow having a problem with, not only was he finally, like, he's accepted Jon Snow. He's accepted that's who he is, but, we have people like Davos and everyone else telling him, hey, look, well, technically, you're king in the North. You aren't a bastard. Technically not anymore. So something like this, that might have a little bit of an impact on him, because the one thing he thought he was truly, which was a bastard, he's not even that. You know what I mean? So it's like a blow to his ego, but at the same time, I don't know. I mean, I don't know. That's one of those. That's why I was saying I didn't really want to comment on it too much because I can kind of see, not necessarily between Jon and Daenerys, but maybe between Jon and someone else, like maybe with Tyrion, because you remember Tyrion had that speech with him where he's like, don't be ashamed of the fact that you're a bastard. Wear like armor so it can never be used to hurt you. I could see, maybe him and Tyrion having a conversation about that.
It's funny you bring that up. Like I put that into a video, and it's funny that you bring up Tyrion with it because we've seen, like I said, I have a video coming out tomorrow on Tyrion and Daenerys and whatnot, and it's funny that you bring it up because I feel that Tyrion's advice to Jon at this point is very hypocritical towards Daenerys. If you look at it from the standpoint of what he's saying, he's like, be yourself, accept who you are, and nobody could use that against you, and you'll basically be stronger because of it. But then he tells Daenerys, don't be the dragon, don't be. And yes, I know that everybody has the association with the Mad King because she's the Mad King's daughter, but Jon Snow is the Mad King's grandson, and he's not batshit crazy, So it's, to me, us as the viewer, we could see that as hypocritical when the shit hits the fan. You know what I mean? When it hits the fan, it's definitely going to be interesting to see how Tyrion approaches it. Like I'm very curious to see what Tyrion thinks about it, because if he thinks that it's a problem that Daenerys and Jon are hooking up now, could you imagine once he finds out that Jon has a stronger claim? I don't know if he's going to like that or if he's going to change his point of view on Jon Snow as well. But you could continue.
Honestly, I think Jon is just gonna give it to Daenerys once. I think the only thing that would kind of fuck with his mind a little bit is
what is he gonna give? Like you just said, he's gonna give her
the Iron Throne. Like
okay.
he doesn't want he doesn't want it, dude. You know what I mean? But
Daenerys did say something to me that was really, really like it stayed with me with which was in episode 5 in Eastwatch. She tells Jon that basically they can only help people from a position of power. And Jon knows that. Jon learned that from the whole Night's Watch thing. Like, he knows that in order for the right thing to be done, he had to be in charge. So that's why one of the reasons I think that if Jon actually were to make it towards the end, he might actually be king, or he would take it, because he knows that in order for change to happen, he would have to apply it himself. Because I know that a lot of people want, like, let's say, for example, a Sansa to be queen. But at the end of the day, Sansa learned how to play Game of Thrones, the Game of Thrones. You know what I mean? Sansa is molded by a Cersei, by Peter Baelish and whatnot. So Jon would know that he needs to make that change himself. He needs to apply it if he wants it to really happen. That's just the way I see that. But again, you know.
All right, that's a perfect way to wrap that one up. I'm gonna keep on with the next one, and then it'll be you again as well. Daenerys walks out of the crypts with Jorah, which Jorah Mormont notices. He asks her what happened down in the crypts, but Daenerys answers that she doesn't know what's up with Jon. She tells Jorah that Jon is hiding something from her. Jorah tells Daenerys that it struck him that Daenerys has been absent for days. She answers that she's not feeling very well lately. Jorah proposes to have her examined by Mr. Woken. Like, I mean, you know, that's, I guess, but that's something that I feel like that would be more of like maybe Missandei. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know if she would start talking to Jorah immediately about, you know what I mean? I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, because you wouldn't really think that Daenerys would admit to Jorah, who she knows is in the friend zone.
Exactly.
No, he's in the what? Have you seen the movie Get Out? Damn, what the sunken place? That's where Jorah is. he's in the sunken place called the friend zone, and he's never getting out of that. So it would be weird for Daenerys to talk to Jorah specifically about Jon, I think. And like I agree, I think Missandei would probably be the one that we would see that type of conversation with.
Hell yeah, it just seems out of place for, you know, him to be, what is he, hanging around? Like, you know, because her coming out of the crypts, you'd obviously have to be somewhere in the lower part of Winterfell, and he just walks out of nowhere. I know it's being, like, really overanalyzing, but come on, it's like, that's why it's hit or miss for me. That's why I'm not really going to sway to one side all the way or the other. I'm going to stay in between, because there's certain, you'll have one paragraph that sounds like it might be legit, and then you question it more, and you're like, oh, okay, what would be the motivation behind that? And then, like, this one right here, like, I don't know, it just doesn't seem natural for them to be, like, they're definitely comfortable with each other. So I could see him asking if something's wrong, you know, and he'll definitely notice if she's not there because he's been around her, you know, this whole time. But I don't know, the conversation, that type of conversation seems out of place with those characters. But did you want to pick up with the next one, Qyburn?
Yeah. All right, so let's see. Qyburn enters Cersei's chambers. He mentions that she hasn't spoken about her miscarriage anymore, and that she needs to take enough time to rest. Cersei answers that there's no time for that and doesn't want to say more about the miscarriage. Qyburn leaves her chambers. Cersei watches from her window, witnessing how the snow falls in King's Landing. The next shot is Jaime riding his horse in snowy conditions. He and Bronn arrive in Riverrun. Both discover that the Tullys are once again laying siege to Riverrun. Jaime enters the stage and meets up with Edmure. Edmure tells Jaime he would have him in chains, but Jaime responds that he doesn't come to argue about the damn castle. He proposes Edmure to help his niece and nephew. I was gonna say just that nephew part, but I'll come back to that. In the Great War against the Night King, he also promises to give Edmure Riverrun back, since it doesn't matter any longer who's holding the castle at this point. Edmure tends to agree, not for Jaime, but for his family. I hope that they're talking about Bran, because I don't even think that Jaime knows that Bran is alive, but yet they mention nephew, and Jon Snow is not his nephew. In the books, the Tullys hate Jon Snow. Especially like Blackfish seems like he hates Jon Snow. So I don't know what this is there or what's happening there. And plus, I'm not sure. I think this leak, I didn't, like, when I saw the leak or I heard about the leak, I didn't hear about Edmure had taken Riverrun. You know what I mean? I had heard,
that's what people were saying. There's different ones, but now I see where you thought I had read ahead a little bit, because it literally mentioned Jaime goes to Riverrun. But yeah, no, I think there's multiple versions, and it took me like an hour to find this one. Like, I found the first one on our Reddit slash Free Folk, you know, the Free Folk subreddit. But this one I found on a website. It was some random website that I'd like legit just copied and pasted it because it looks like it might have viruses. There were all these ads all over the shit. So I just copied and pasted it and was like, I'm not leaving that window up on my computer. So that's why the text looks like really, you know, really hard to read and stuff.
Yeah, you're like, I'm not about to risk it all.
Yeah, dude, malware or spyware, something's gonna be in there and it's gonna hop on. All right, but yeah, so I'll read the next one. I kind of want to do some questions from the chat and stuff like that. That's always the most fun. So that's why I'm trying to kind of blow through this. So we'll both mention our thoughts on it after we read it, and then, you know, we'll try to pick up from there. But most of House Stark's bannermen and Daenerys' army now have arrived at Winterfell. Among them is Howland Reed. He arrived with his army and Mira Reed at his side. Okay, I call bullshit. I'm officially like, dude, I wish we could have had a little gavel or like a little emblem thing where I could jump to one side, and I'm officially onto the. I call bullshit with that. You tell me Howland Reed just shows up. Like, okay, whatever. He arrived with his army, Mira's at his side. Arya receives a visitor in Winterfell. He seems to be an ordinary bannerman from House Serwyn, but he quickly removes his... What? It's Jaqen H'ghar. Arya is surprised to have Jaqen visiting her. Jaqen tells Arya the many-faced god requires another death, a name to be crossed off her list. He reveals it to be... Who would pay that price? Anyway.
I mean, like, it's funny because I had heard this, someone, a subscriber of mine, and I think she subbed to your channel too, Stacy Smith, told me something along the lines that this was like, she told me a theory before the season started about this. And then when I saw this, I was like, like that could be interesting. Like it would be interesting if it were true, if it still played out that way.
Yeah, because I literally, the last video I did was on Arya and if Jaqen shows back up, but I didn't think it would be like him just showing up. You know what I mean? Like, I thought it was going to be like a last moment kind of thing. Like, the last episode, maybe he shows up and he's like, look, you think you're going to be able to live or do whatever? And, you know. What were we saying?
A girl has one last name. A girl must erase this name from her list. Why not do it now? Whatever.
Yeah, like my whole question is, and it might be mentioned, or this person might mention it later on in their fanfic. It might be, you know, I'm curious to see who paid the price. But anyway, what better servant of the many-faced god than Arya Stark to kill Cersei Lannister? He gives her a vial of poison, and leaves her. And then I'm just going to read this next one because it's short. Jon Snow seizes the moment to talk with Howland Reed alone. He asks Howland to confirm Bran's story, but Howland doesn't acknowledge this at all. Jon Snow pleads him to tell the truth since Robert Baratheon isn't alive any longer. There's no point in lying anymore. Howland ultimately confirms that Ned was carrying Lyanna's child when he came out of the Tower of Joy. He always promised to keep him this secret. Jon thanks him for telling him the truth anyway. I don't know if Jon would beg him because Jon's not a beggar. You know what I mean? But I could see Jon being like, you know, because it sounds like Howland might be respecting that secret for Ned, not so much since to keep it from Robert Baratheon. Obviously, that was the ultimate goal, but I think he's more would be along those lines if he was like trying to preserve the memory of Ned. You know what I mean? Because Ned knew that was his sister's dying words. But what do you think?
I mean, I personally think that the fact that Robert is dead would allow Howland Reed to be more open about it, or yes, tell him the truth. Especially like when everybody starts seeing that Jon is like, you know, rubbing bits with Daenerys. So, you know, like, you know, that would be a good little detail to tell somebody. You know what I mean? Like, hey, yo, you see that chick you with? Yo, she's your aunt. Like, I would want to know, you know?
Yeah. So I feel like keeping it, yeah, I don't know. It could go either way. With that first one, with the way that Jaqen just shows up, that's definitely probably not going to happen. You notice I said definitely probably not going to happen because I honestly don't really know.
It's funny. You're not closing yourself into one thing. You're like very open about like, so you're saying there's a chance.
Who knows? Who knows? Let's see what everyone else thinks when we get through this. Did you want to do the next one? It was with knowing that the army of the undead.
All right, wait. All right. Knowing that the army of the undead will be upon them very soon. Tyrion, Jon, Sansa, Arya, Brienne, Podrick, Davos, Tormund, Gendry, Varys, Jorah, Theon, the Hound, Grey Worm, and Sam That's a lot of people there discuss together.
I love how it lists everyone out because there's such an extensive cast.
Yeah. Discuss together with the Stark Bannermen and Daenerys' army how they will defend. Yeah, who in Daenerys' army are they going to discuss? The Dothraki? Like they didn't give one line of dialogue to any Dothraki, I think, this season. Like, except for the one that said, your people can't fight to Tyrion. Like,
yeah.
That's like the only line I think I heard of Dothraki. Oh, no, and this guy's your friend. He's the only one. And they really haven't even put his name out there that much. I forgot what his name was.
Yeah, but, that was a good one. When Jorah shows up and he's like, there's this guy over here. He says he's your friend. We're just gonna let him walk up. You know what I mean? Like, yeah. Dude.
No, it's funny how they conveniently put him right behind the Dothraki dude, like the Blood Rider. He's like, oh yeah, walking right behind him, and then like you just see like his little hair, like, whoop, oh, it's Jorah, and I'm like, wow, very convenient to like that's one thing that really pissed me off this season with the surprises. Man, boy, were these surprises? Ugh.
What are you talking about? Like the way characters would pop up out of nowhere, or what?
I feel like they kind of sacrificed dialogue and story and like building characters up and like, you know, concluding things just to give shock value. You know what I mean? Like, or surprise.
And I understand that argument. My whole thing with that is like we have to all realize that it's becoming more and more Hollywood in a good way, but also in a negative way. Whereas if you watch it, dude, when I binge watch a TV show and you know that they gave you on average 13 to maybe 16 episodes of straight content that you can watch all the way through, and that's like an hour each episode or 50 minutes each episode. A movie condenses it down to 2 hours, and there are so many, like, I can't even watch most movies now unless it's like Marvel or DC, to be completely honest, because there's just so much, you know, especially with Marvel. Marvel does a good job of creating this expansive, like, you know, you see characters in other movies and stuff, but I can't even take a movie serious with the amount of like loopholes that are in just a regular movie that everyone thinks is good, but you're like, what the fuck? Like, why is everything sped up so much? You know what I mean? I think that's the same way people are criticizing Game of Thrones about that, but you have to remember, it's less episodes. So we don't have 10 episodes. It's like people would have bitched that there were probably 3 to 4 episodes that would have been filler if we had gotten 10 full episodes. You know what I mean?
But I mean, every episode this season had like 2 moments that would have closed a previous episode. You know what I mean? And to me, it's just like it. Because, like, I understand the whole thing, like, oh, no, they're rushing it. Yes, they're rushing it, and I can live with that. Yeah, you rush it. But at the end of the day, there's certain things that you just shouldn't rush because it just comes across as sloppy, and it comes across as, like, you don't care. You know what I mean? And that's, like, my only thing with D&D. It's, like, because you said it, right? You have a whole story in a movie in 2 hours or less, right?
Exactly.
But you have maybe this season, we have maybe, like, I don't know, maybe 8 hours worth of content, or maybe like 7 something. So we have all this time, so we should appreciate at least that we have it. But with the rules that Game of Thrones has set up, like with travel and how they spread out the story, it just seems like for example, the whole Littlefinger thing. We could have had a scene that showed Sansa knocking on Bran's door at least, and we don't see what they're talking about. You know what I mean? But they cut out the whole scene of them talking, and there's like nothing. And then like last minute, oh yeah, Littlefinger. I wasn't shocked that Littlefinger. Like I said, like last August that Arya was in the, and like trust me, anybody, the common viewer of Game of Thrones was gonna be shocked regardless. They could have showed Sansa talking with Bran. You know what I mean? Like I think so. I think that they kind of overdid it there, but I don't know. That's just me. Like.
Yeah, they definitely could have slipped that in there, because you said about 7 hours, but honestly, if you cut out all of the behind-the-scenes shit, it's probably even less than that. You know what I mean? So I feel like like them telling us about certain scenes almost seems like a scapegoat. It's like they completely forgot it, didn't film it, and afterwards they're like, yo, people are going to complain about how they came out of nowhere and called Littlefinger out like that, so let's make up this story. I'm not saying they did that, but I'm just saying it would be easy to do. Because it just doesn't make sense. Like, you couldn't have taken 3 minutes to, you know, maybe take away from the Missandei, however the fuck you say her name, you know, the right way that makes people happy, at least. Cersei. No, I'm just kidding. But I feel like you could have taken a couple of minutes from her and Grey Worm's bumping ugly section, you know, to maybe put it more towards like a scene that would show some character development. But whatever.
Yeah. So, all right, let's continue. Let's continue on this part right here. So, let's see. Together with the Stark Bannermen and Daenerys' army on how they will defend the North.
Wait. Oh, you didn't finish the paragraph yet. Okay, sorry. Go ahead.
Allegedly, the last hearth has already been attacked by the White Walkers and their castle destroyed. Ned Umber didn't make it out alive. Tyrion speaks for Daenerys, who's absent due to illness. He comes forward with a plan to defend the North. Tormund, the remaining free folk, and the Dothraki and Unsullied will attack with Dragonglass from the Dreadfort, since that's where they were heading to first. Wait, let me see. All right. On their way to Winterfell, the dragons will set the army of the dead afire, and House Stark's bannermen and the Knights of the Vale will fight weakened forces at the battlefield of Winterfell and hopefully destroy the Night King as well. Jon wants Brienne and Podrick to take Sansa, Arya, and Bran with them, and to leave with Robb and Aaron. It's like so many things together that I'm like, with Robb and Aaron to the Eyrie. Arya doesn't want to and claims that she's stronger than most men. They need her there. They need her in the war to come. Jon insists that he doesn't want that. Jorah also wants to fight alongside House Mormont, but Lyanna reminds him that he has betrayed his own house. Varys mentions that he has also received word from King's Landing. Supposedly, Queen Cersei has brought a great army of sellswords, and Euron Greyjoy has taken Storm's End to install the army there. Theon pleads to have Storm's End attacked, and Gendry agrees since it's the seat of his father's house. Jon promises Theon that he will help destroy Euron and save his sister after they have dealt with the Night King and his army. There's no time for that now, since all of their lives are in danger and they have no choice than to face the Night King and his army. He needs his help and that of the Iron Islanders as well during the battle at Winterfell. A disappointed Theon accepts his proposal. Jesus Christ. Like, you couldn't have split that in different parts, bro. Like, it's just like one big bulk. I'm like, where the hell was I reading?
I didn't write it, dude. I told you, I copied and pasted. I got the hell off that website because I didn't want any, malware, spyware,
You were like, I'm out. Damn. No, but, man, there's a lot in there.
No, that was a jumbled mess. Like that,
I mean,
yeah.
There's a lot in there. I mean, one, you're going to tell me when you have all these people, you have Jon Snow, you have all these other battle commanders and whatnot in here. You have Jon Royce, you have like the Dothraki, and Tyrion's going to be like, yo, this is the plan. Stop it. I don't believe that. Like, stop it.
I wish I had preloaded or put up, that gif of the person that does that. Stop it.
Like there is not a chance in hell that out of all of those people there, Tyrion is going to be the one being like, yo, this is how we're going to do this. Like, yeah, cause yo, oh man, like that to me is ridiculous. You're going to tell me Jorah's there, Jon is there. Like I said, Jon Royce, all these crazy warriors and battle commanders and whatnot. And you're going to have this dude being like, yeah, the dragons are, and it sounds like a horrible plan too.
I mean, and to keep with that theme, it's like Tyrion's plan sucked last season. You know what I mean? At least at least the characters on the show, like they can all agree, like, dude, Daenerys lost half her fleet because of this dude. It was like, it can be argued that, yeah, no one expected Euron to be like, wild card, bitches. See, that's where I throw up the meme or the gif of Charlie Day from It's Always Sunny. Anyway, he basically comes out of nowhere. So it could be argued that, yeah, he wasn't supposed to take into account that. You would think that Yara and Theon would know, their uncle best, but it can be argued also that Tyrion's plan sucked to donkey nuts. So, I don't think that I don't think that he's going to have the confidence, or if he tries to, maybe Daenerys will be like, stop, just stop, dude. You know what I mean? Like the Queen of Thorns, Olenna Tyrell told her last season, stop listening to clever men. I think, do you agree with that theory? Sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say, you are hitting all the points. I'm telling you, I have a theory out tomorrow. You're hitting all these points. I have like all these scenes in it. Like, Yo, it is. Yo, Tyrion is going to be the downfall of this guy. Oh man.
Well, don't ruin it here because I didn't know. I was just blindly guessing.
No. But I'm saying, like, I'm so with you on this. Like, yo, it's insane how me and you were synced on this. Like, yo, I'm telling you, like, Tyrion will be the downfall of Daenerys.
Well, I don't want to go that far, but I am saying if this happens, like, I don't see this scene happening in particular because Tyrion has a bad history of plans, and not to mention, you know, it's kind of like I feel like his confidence might be wavered a little bit, especially since he saw how terribly they went. It would be, I mean, it wouldn't be completely out of character for him to take the scene. Like, that's what he does. He's a negotiator. You know what I mean? Or like he's the strategy guy. But what I was gonna ask you was, is getting super sidetracked here, but do you like the theory that, you know, all of the ancient heroes of old from the Age of Heroes is like somewhat mirrored in modern day people, like Tyrion being Lane the Clever, Jon Snow being I was gonna say Garth Greenhand, but that's just completely wrong. Like, I don't know why, I just like Garth Greenhand, dude. He hooked up with everyone, and he was just like walking around like carrying a bag of seeds, and he was just like throwing them. You know, I used to do that as a teenager. I can't even mention that. I don't even want to mention. I can't even tell that story because of like this golden icon thing that keeps ruining YouTube. It's like, you know, the demonetization, not ad friendly. So with that being said, I haven't said this at all during this live stream. Go ahead and slap a like on this video. The like goal will be 100. I think we've had about 100 people watching this whole time. So let's see if we can hit that goal. Also, make sure you go check out Ray's channel and subscribe. And check out his content. He's going to be having some videos dropping tomorrow. And I will be having, I think I will be having some non-Game of Thrones content as well as a Game of Thrones video dropping by Wednesday. Both of those not necessarily up on the same day. But the Game of Thrones video will be coming out first. And it is going to be continuing my House Stark predictions with Jon Snow. And kind of Daenerys, you know. Jon Snow's not fully a Stark anymore. We got to start calling him Aegon, dude. We got to switch up our thumbnails. They can't say Jon Snow anymore. They got to say Aegon Targaryen.
Jagon. Let's just call him Jagon.
Jagon. What? That's a terrible. All right. Well, yeah. So let me continue on with this paragraph, or actually start the paragraph. The free folk, the Dothraki, the Unsullied, prepare to leave Winterfell. Jon asks Daenerys why she didn't attend this important gathering, but Daenerys doesn't reply to that as well. So everyone's just being like cold faced, like emo. Mira goes to say goodbye to Bran in the Godswood, like she would do this again. She had her heart broken the last time she said bye to this dude, and he was basically like, Bran is dead. Or she, you know, she ends with Bran Stark dying. Anyway, to the Godswood in Winterfell, Bran starts to behave very strangely. He pleads Mira to warn them since the Night King's army is here. Jon is going to say goodbye to Sansa, and Mira runs to warn the others. A huge winter storm starts to come closer to Winterfell. Chaos erupts. The North and Daenerys' army gather outside to face the Night King's army. Jon orders Sansa. Arya and Daenerys stay inside Winterfell. Not true. Not true at all. Arya would be out there on the front lines, bro. You can't keep her. She's a fucking caged wolf. You can't do that. They are too valuable to lose, and promises them that Winterfell will not fall. Varys, that's another name, but people get pissed off because apparently I say it wrong. Tyrion, Robin, Samwell, Gilly, Lyanna, Missandei also remain inside Winterfell. Arya first doesn't want to, but obeys Jon's whisk. Sansa asks Mira to get Bran inside ASAP. You know, the problem with this is that they throw a period in every 3 words. So it's like you're trying to read it all the way through, and there's literally a period where there shouldn't be. Put a comma or a semicolon and carry it. Like it's okay to make your sentence longer than 3 words. This is crazy. A huge flock of whites invade the battlefield of Winterfell. Dothraki face the army of the dead first, and many of them are taken out quite easily. See, I don't believe this because the Dothraki are savage and they kill human people like it's nothing. You remember that? Yeah. You know, like the Lannister soldiers are pretty well trained, and they break through their defenses like it's nothing. So I doubt these fucking half-dead skeleton dudes that are missing legs, arms, limbs, you know, I doubt they're going to be that fresh. You could argue that the North has been keeping them preserved, but, you know, every time we see them, there's most of them, if not every single white you see, has some sort of limb missing, and they're not, like, the smartest.
Yeah, like the case sits in.
Exactly, and if somehow they switch it around just because it's more convenient to make it as a plot device, to make it so that the whites are somehow better than Dothraki on an open field, would make no sense at all. So you know, not only am I past the point where this plot leak is complete bogus bullshit fake, but I'm also at the point where I'll be pissed if some of these things happen.
That's why, yo, you haven't even gotten there, bro. Yo,
yeah.
Ooh, baby Jesus.
So it's harder to do it when you break it down paragraph by paragraph, but I guess when you skim the whole thing, the major points that stick out in your mind, you're like, those are completely bogus. You know what I mean? So I can see that. All right, so let's see. Lots of whites keep coming. Ghost fights with Jon and saves him at one point from a white trying to kill him. Ghost is killed off trying to save Jon. Well, there you go. All those people that wanted to see Ghost. Inside Winterfell, Daenerys is frustrated that she's not able to help and that she could fly Drogon to destroy the undead. Missandei answers that it's not wise to join the fight while she's pregnant. Sam tries to console Gilly and little Sam. This news surprises Sansa, Tyrion, and Varys. Okay, so this is the first time they're hearing that Dany's pregnant. Drogon comes in between and takes out a big chunk of the Night King's army, but also kills some of the Northern Bannermen in the process. Well, we didn't see any of the Dothraki dying in the Field of Fire 2.0 in Episode 4, so I don't think that that's going to happen. The White Walkers also enter the stage with the Night King flying undead Viserion above them. Viserion starts to destroy the Northern army as well. Lord Glover and Howland Reed are killed by dragons. See, it's just written terribly. There's like no, it's like, I don't know. Tormund leads the free folk and fights, but is killed by Drogon's fire. So Tormund is killed by Drogon. Okay. Drogon also manages to kill an undead giant. Mira wants Bran to leave the Godswood, but he tells her he has help and Jonna and co. Bran is trying to control Rhaegal with his mind. What?
Trying to fly, bro.
He's over in the corner like on that episode of South Park where he's like, me. Like, what? Either you can do it or you can't. There's no like what does he flash over white eyes real quick and then he goes back? Like, Rhaegal should be doing his thing, dude. Rhaegal should be defending Daenerys, and that's what they're all doing. I don't know. Were you about to say something?
What I was about to say was, you see, this is one of those things that I'm saying that they're trying to make like educated guesses, you could tell, because they're just trying to hit certain points. Like, for example, Bran warging a dragon is one of those things that everybody's expecting to happen because Bloodraven said, you will never walk, but you will fly. So everybody's expecting it. That's why I think that they included that in there. Because technically he did fly through the ravens already. He wargs the ravens. So, I don't know.
Oh, I didn't realize that whenever I make that screen big, it makes it blocks everything. All right, so I need to leave it small. I don't know why it does that, but whatever. All right, where were we? Bran is trying to control Rhaegal with his mind. Mira warns Bran that it's too dangerous and that he should stay inside. Jon and Daenerys' army is diminishing greatly since many whites keep coming. White Walkers try to invade Winterfell. Grey Worm faces 2 White Walkers and is able to take out one of them with his spear from Dragonglass. The other White Walker kills him. The White Walkers mostly try to invade Winterfell.
I want to know how they do that. How the hell are they doing that?
I'm laughing at how silly it is, but I'm also laughing at just how these sentences are written. It's just like that literally was 3 words and there was a period right there. Podrick is killed off by a group of whites, which makes Brienne go psycho and takes out one of the White Walkers as well with Oathkeeper. I thought it said Oathkeeper. I was about to say, oh, that's a new one. That's a farmer's sword there. Mira is urging Bran to give up and get inside, but Bran doesn't want to. He wants Mira to leave instead and get safe inside the castle. Mira answers that she will stay together with him until the end. Jaime Lannister and the Tully forces come to the North's aid right in time. Bran is managing to warg inside Rhaegal, and the dragon starts to fight undead Viserion, trying to bite him right in the neck, but gets gravely injured during the fight. Rhaegal starts to breathe fire on Viserion, which seems to make the Night King start leaving the battlefield on injured Viserion's back. Well, technically, you can't injure the dead. We saw that you can literally remove their arm and they will still keep moving. So, yeah. I don't know, Ray. What do you think, man? That was a lot.
I mean, one, after the previous episode, Mira's like, no, I'm going to die with you. I don't know. Like, Mira cares about Bran because, you know, everything they've been through, but it And one, Bran doesn't have to be next to the weirwood to freaking warg anything.
Yeah, he can do it. I remember people came up with a theory that his wheelchair was made out of weirwood. Did you hear that one?
No, but I mean, when he was at the wall, he was warging the ravens, and then it opened. Like, you know what I mean? Like the gate opened, he opened his eyes, and he was warging the ravens when he was peeping on the Night King in the first episode, right? So I'm like, at the end of the day, he doesn't need to be in front of the tree. He could have done that from inside Winterfell. You know what I mean? I think I call BS on that.
I like,
and also that Daenerys isn't going to be on a dragon. Like, Daenerys isn't going to be in the battle. To me, that is ridiculous.
Well, I mean, if she's pregnant,
bro, but how pregnant could she be? Like,
she has miscarriages easy. She has miscarriages easily.
But
so.
how long did it take for her to get from the boat to Winterfell? 3 months? Like, come on, it wasn't that long. Like, you know what I mean?
No,
like,
but
now,
they would know. They would know, just like with Cersei. Remember, Cersei found out she was pregnant right after she slept with Jaime.
Yo, bro, you're gonna see why I'm saying that this pregnancy is like she has like the Antichrist in her or something. Like, some shit is up with this birth, like with this baby. Like, this is not normal. This, like, yo, trust me, bro. When you get to a couple of these in the future, you're gonna be like, what? Like, is this an easy baked baby?
I'm gonna let you finish up with the last paragraph, basically. But I agree with shout out to Game of Thrones with Marie. I think that's Marie Hill, right, from Australia.
Yeah, that is Marie Hill. Yes.
Yeah. Shout out to Marie. Make sure you go check out her channel. But she says they should just keep releasing fake leaks every 3 months, so that way when season 8 comes out, no one knows what's the truth, and everyone will be shocked.
I do believe that. I agree with that. That would be a nice way. You know what I mean? I definitely.
Do you think HBO leaked episode 6 on purpose? You know how it was supposedly India had did that, like HBO India had gotten hacked or something, or like their third party?
No, that was episode 4. It was episode 4 was the India thing, and episode 6 was HBO Spain. And,
that's
Nordic.
Right. No, you're right.
They accidentally uploaded it.
You're right. Yeah, because it was the Indian thing, because that's when they that's when the quality was really low. Like, you could barely see it. And then the next one they did, like episode 6, the quality was really good.
But you want me to read the other one you said?
Yeah, hang on. Before we do that, there's a couple questions. I want to get your thoughts on this as well. I'm gonna read the question. Hang on, let me find it real quick. I need to scroll back up to it.
Yeah, man, but I'm telling you, man, when you see that pregnancy, it's gonna be like an easy baked baby. 30 minutes or less. You have somewhat edible pastry in easy bake oven. Here you have a somewhat baby.
That's very loosely edible, bro. Those are terrible. Easy baked treats are disgusting.
It's with a light bulb. It's like with a light bulb, and you're supposed to make it like in less than half an hour.
Yeah,
of course,
I don't know,
it's a bad idea.
It wasn't really a question. It was more of like something I want to get your thoughts on, because we were talking about Tyrion earlier. This is from Mark Wokel, and he says, my guess is that Tyrion thinks when they are a couple and Jon dies, Dany will take irrational actions to avenge him, since Jon is always taking risks. What do you think about that? I mean, you think Jon would rage out? He would go psycho like Brienne?
I mean, this is one thing that I have, like, I'm telling you, I have like so many things written out of thoughts and ideas. Jon Snow's character, he has the hero complex. He wants to be the hero. He's willing to die. He's done it over and over and over again, and it always causes some issue. We see that in the Battle of the Bastards, he ran in, and it's just because he loved his brother. You know what I mean? He ran in, and then it almost cost them their lives. It cost mad people their lives because they had to run after him. And I agree that the same thing would be with Daenerys. If something happens with Jon, if she's attached to him, she wants to save him. She knows that he's an idiot, that, you know, he wants to be the hero. And we all love Jon Snow because he's an idiot. We love Ned because he was an idiot too. You know what I mean? So I definitely see that Tyrion would be upset because of it, because she kind of did the same thing too in episode 6, right? She went beyond the wall to, like he said, to the most dangerous place in the world, because Jon went there. And he knows it's not just because of Jorah and because of her, it's because of Jon, and he knows that that's the reason why. So I could see why he could be upset about it, but he should be more upset at Cersei than he should be at Daenerys at this point, to be honest. But that's just my thoughts.
Hell yeah. You know, honestly, I don't know. Like, Jon is very irrational. But I feel like I don't know if Tyrion would be, because people don't really believe it, but Tyrion, the actor who plays him, Peter Dinklage, was interviewed before the season started. He said it's weird working with Daenerys because he's in love with her. So
exactly,
if that's the case, why the fuck would he be so open to want to help Dany? Like, I know Tyrion's not malicious, and he wouldn't be like, oh, well, maybe if she did go out there, she would lose the baby, and then I have a chance. You know what I mean? But I feel like he wouldn't be at least so open to be like, hey, you need to think about y'all's kids. You know what I mean?
Yo, bro, that's something that I always bring that up. Why is it that everybody forgets that interview? Like, nobody mentions that interview.
Yeah, and then when you bring it up, they'll mention it in a video or something. They'll be like, what? Honestly, I think it's fake. Like, no, it wasn't real. It was from, I think it was from Entertainment Weekly, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, it was like a big magazine. Like, yo, he said that he's smitten with his employer, with his new employer, and that it'll be interesting to see him versus his family and his new employer who he's smitten with. Tyrion is catching feelings, people. He's slipping, and the thing is that most people don't see about Tyrion. It's funny because most people are gonna. I know Big E in the chat is gonna be like, Ray, stop hating on Tyrion, because everybody thinks I hate on Tyrion, Sansa, and Arya. But yo, you trust me. There's gonna get to a point that Tyrion is gonna have to choose between his family and Daenerys, and at the end of the day, I think he's gonna end up choosing his family. Like, you know what I mean? And that being Cersei. Like, I think that him, and not that he's gonna choose them over Daenerys necessarily, but I think that his lack of like he's not this, like, you know what I mean? Like in the video that I'm gonna release tomorrow, I say that it's like crossing the street. Like, you know when you're crossing the street and it's like a very hectic street, and you're like, oh, this car is coming, but I shouldn't cross the street. But then you're like, you know what I mean? Like, you don't want to commit to crossing the street because you think the car might hit you. But then that kind of makes you more dangerous because the car might actually hit you because you're being hesitant. That's what's happening with Tyrion right now. He hasn't fully come to terms that he has to kill Cersei, in my opinion. But again, that's just me. That's just me.
All right. So did you want to do the last little bit there?
Yeah, and
my favorite part is that the very last line is where they mention all the people that die.
Yeah, and again, I see Big E put it. Stop hate on Tyrion, Rayz. Oh, okay.
Yeah, he was saying,
hating, though.
Yeah, he was saying he's not gonna hate on you. Apparently he feels the same way about Tyrion.
I guess so. No, but like I said, I'll have that video on tomorrow.
Bubba Husky says Tyrion is smitten with every woman. Pretty much, like yo, a shout out to, I don't know why I'm giving him a shout out because everyone knows who he is, but shout out to Philip DeFranco. You know, I was like watching one of his videos one time, and he was like he explained it's like every woman he has sex with, he pretty much falls in love with, and like I can agree with it. You know what I mean? Like, at least with my previous teenage years, like with my experience, I'm pretty much like, oh, she gave me the ass, I love her. You know what I mean? So I understand that. He's a hopeless romantic is a better way of putting that, I guess.
But I forgot who it was that they told me, like, yo, Tyrion needs to. No, I didn't forget. It was Big E. Big E wrote me on Twitter, and Big E's like, yo, he needs to start whoring again and drinking. Like, yo, he's losing his edge. Like,
exactly.
Like, he's not who he is anymore. You know what I mean? And he isn't the person who he started off being. You know what I mean? Because that kind of gave him an edge to anticipate other people because he had that same mentality. You know what I mean? Like, you ever heard that like people who cheat are the ones who always think they're getting cheated on? Because you expect
guilty conscience. Guilty conscience.
They expect it. They know how to play it. They know how those people do those things. And I feel that Tyrion has kind of, you know, like fell back on that, and he's cleaned up his act a bit. And yeah, man, I'm not gonna touch more on it because I feel like I'm talking too much. But you know, again, I'll have that video out hopefully tomorrow.
Well, videos are, you know, people will still watch the video too because videos are better when you condense information. You know what I mean? With these leaks, there's so much to go through. It's easier to do these like 2-hour long podcasts because there's so much information. You know what I mean?
I mean, the video was like 20 minutes. I have it down to like 15. I cut some stuff out because I was like, you know, you don't want to like hear me and see me mumbling about. But you know, again, I'll have that out tomorrow. But yeah, you want me to continue with this?
Yeah.
All right. Where are we? Let's see. Where are we at?
Mira realizes that this.
All right, wait. Let me see.
I didn't think you started reading it yet, did you?
No, I didn't.
Okay.
All right. It's just like such a long. All right. So let's see. No, I gotta, So all right, Mira realizes that this is the end for them. White Walkers are coming in.
I like how you think it's funny that Mira is realizing that everyone's gonna die. Rayz starts
I know, right?
laughing at that.
It's like, yeah, this is when she realized it. Like,
stupid Mira, and that's when Mira realized they had fucked up.
Yeah, like, yo, you should have just left him. Why do you have to die? Because Bran wants to stay there. Mira realizes that this is the end. The White Walkers are coming for Bran, and she gets killed off by the White Walkers while defending Bran's body. Viserion and Rhaegal keep fighting each other, and both start to be seriously injured. It seems like Dragonfire can harm the Night King. The White Walkers stab Bran to death.
What? Yeah. Hold up. No, we gotta address that. What? The Bran is gonna die. The second episode, bro. 4 episodes left of fighting the Night King, and the key to that dies. What? Okay, whatever. Sorry. And he's stabbed to death the same way they killed his direwolf in Leaf. And you know what I mean? Like, come on, dude. Okay, whatever. But yeah.
All right, let's see.
The White Jojen, and Jojen for that matter. So I guess it would be kind of poetic because Jojen died that way, Leaf died that way. Technically, Bloodraven, we never saw him die, or the Three-Eyed Raven. That's something. See, and it's funny when people get pissed off at me for saying Bloodraven because they don't realize that's what he's called in the books, and he's supposed to be the same in the show. You know what I mean? It's different in the Night King. They made a point to say that that's not the Night's King; it's the Night King for the TV show. Yeah, but with Bloodraven, it's like they don't specifically say it, but that's his name. So they try to call me out, and I'm like, y'all need to pick up the damn books, right? So like, I get Yara and Asha confused all the time. It's from listening to POV chapters. But sorry, go ahead.
You want me to continue reading?
Yeah, sorry.
No, I'm just saying. The White Walkers stab Bran to death, which makes Rhaegal fall to the ground, which is ridiculous, to the ground to be stabbed to death by whites. Whoa. The Night King's army of the undead is starting to diminish. Yeah, like that makes no sense. Like once the dragon is what, I'm not even gonna go into it right now. Let me finish. That
would be pretty good though, because that would be really. So it's like Bran was, control and responsible for it, and then when he does it, it takes Rhaegal a second for him to get his shit together. So he crashed to the ground, and then it's over. I could see that kind of.
I mean, I guess, but I mean, like, it's just like the most. I don't know if we could cuss, but I'm like, it's
yeah,
just
dude,
like
dude, feel free to curse. Like, I, you know how we were all thinking that there was a blacklist. It's confirmed that there's no reason why my video, even though they're saying that it's auto, like they've been working it out though. They've been manipulating the algorithm. Every single time I do a live stream, it is deemed not ad friendly. And even videos where I literally will say fuck, motherfucker, shit with no, like out of context, just saying curse words, those are somehow ad friendly. So it literally makes no sense, dude. Every single video I upload is no longer ad friendly. So like, I don't even want to sit here and bitch about that. But on those same words, thank you Thalgor for the super chat, sir. He says this shit legit. I don't want to read it. Laugh my ass off. I mean, we're kind of dissecting that. I'm gonna to answer flat out, I'm gonna go ahead and say no, but also you can more thoroughly and say that parts of it are real and parts of it aren't. But the parts that are real, and I say that with air quotations, are parts that we all could have predicted just going by the direction the story was going. So off of first glance, the major points are just like ridiculous. So it's like, yeah, it's fake as shit. But then some of them may actually happen. But that's not credit to the plot leak. That's credit to good analysis of the show. You know what I mean? Like you can tell the direction the story's going. But thank you for that super chat. Did you want to go ahead, Ray? Sorry, you were at the part where they killed Rhaegal or whatever.
All right, let's see. Rhaegal falls to the ground to be stabbed to death by whites. The Night King's army of undead is starting to diminish. We see Jaime commanding his men and fighting the remaining undead alongside Bronn. Jon fights alongside the Hound and Davos, which is... Davos says he's not a good fighter. You think he's going to be out there? He has to be like...
I've never been much of a fighter.
He keeps saying that. He's like, yo, I'm no good out there. Like... He knows he's gonna die if he's out there. I don't believe that. Let's see. The Hound is fighting like a boss right here. Yo, bro. Yo, they put in. I quote. This is exactly how it says. The Hound is fighting like a boss right here. That's it. let's end this shit. Let's end it. Like, yo, the Hound is fighting like a boss
It's
here.
still fun though, because it's still fun.
No, I mean, yeah, it's fun. It kind of, the reason that I enjoyed reading it is because it gives me like, oh, like these things could actually, some of these things do seem possible. Some of them don't. I don't believe them. I'm like 90% sure that it's like complete, but some of the, like, I'm like 10% of it might be real. Like certain things have to happen. So, but I mean, like, just the way that that's written out, the Hound is fighting like a boss right here. It's like something your homie would say, like, yo, Mayweather was fighting like a boss, bro. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
or the Hound pwned this one white. like who says that? Okay.
All right, let's see. All right. When Jon starts to notice that the Night King's army is retreating as well, he commands everybody to leave the battlefield ASAP and goes with Davos and the Hound to get everyone safely outside now. The Knights of the Vale, Sansa, Brienne, Robin leave together to the Eyrie. Arya, the Hound, Jaime Lannister, Bronn, Edmure Tully. I don't know if I guess that's like a typo. They put Edmure Tully and Tully, so he's double Tully. And the Lannister forces retreat. Oh, Tully and Lannister forces retreat. All right, get it. To River Run, Jon, Davos, Tyrion, Varys, Missandei, Jorah, Samwell, Gilly, Little Sam, Theon, and the remaining Unsullied and Dothraki forces. Jesus Christ. Let me drink some water.
Cheese them crepes.
Oh, man. I don't know what the hell happened here. All right. Theon and the remaining Unsullied Dothraki forces travel south. Lyanna Mormont and her men retreat to Bear Island. You want me to keep reading there, or?
Yeah.
All right. The last shot we see is Jon and Daenerys on Drogon's back, retreating on Daenerys' back, setting all the dead afire, including dead Rhaegal. Both sides suffered great losses in this fight. Deaths: Grey Worm, Tormund, Podrick, Mira, Bran, Rhaegal, Robert Glover, and Howland Reed.
Fulfilling the stereotype of coming back from the dead only to be killed again.
Yep.
So they're telling me that in the second episode, okay, the second episode of the season, there are still 4 episodes left, and that's like 8 hours, right? Okay, not 8 hours, but like 6, because each one is going to be like an hour and 20 minutes, right? So out of all that time, half of Daenerys' forces are wiped out, and like literally every single character that's like a fan favorite, besides the Grey Worm. I'm not a big fan of his character. I was a fan of him all the way up until season 4. After that, they haven't really written anything good for him. So I'm a fan of the actor, but I'm not necessarily a fan of his character at this point in the show. Robert Glover can die. I could care less. Honestly, Howland Reed, if he does the point that he's supposed to, I wanted him to be in a flashback, not necessarily present day.
Yeah, you got 2 donations, bro.
But Tormund, Podrick, Mira, Bran, and Rhaegal, like, come on, dude. I feel like they would be splitting them up over I don't know, a few episodes. Oh shit, yeah, you're right. We did get a super chat.
You got 2.
Oh damn. All right. First one is from Matthew Preston, and he says, "Shout out from Australia. Loving these debates, guys. Awesome. Thank you so much, Matthew Preston. We really do appreciate that. Make sure everyone watch right now. If you haven't already done so, please go and subscribe to Rayz's channel. Make sure you turn on your notifications so that way you get alerted every time he drops content. Same with me here. Go ahead and turn your notifications on. We're gonna be opening up. I'm gonna try to do one It's Always Sunny video, one anime video. I don't even want to tell you about that because that's not here yet. But and then we have another super chat from Beth Anderson. Thank you, ma'am. And she says, "Oh my God, I love you guys. Thank you for your reviews. I love them. Just became a major fan for life." Awesome. Well, thank you so much for that.
Yo, my throat is jacked up from reading these plot leaks, bro. These plot leaks. That's what we're gonna call them. Plot leaks.
Or plop leaks. Like plop, like pooty, or like duty.
Plop fleeks. Because they're fake leaks.
So what do you think about all those major characters dying in one episode like that, including a dragon?
I like how you said they ended up putting it at the ending.
And they forgot Ghost. Like, they said Ghost was killed, but they didn't even mention that as the people that died. But you mentioned the dragon, but you don't mention Ghost. Like, come on.
I mean, for the most part, if Tormund dies, I will be saddened, but he's living on what you call it. You know what I mean? Like on borrowed time. So I wouldn't be shocked if he dies. Any of those people that they mentioned, I wouldn't be shocked. Only Bran. Like, if Bran died that early, I would be extremely shocked.
Only because it's the last season, which I understand. I know that 90% of the cast is probably going to be picked off the last few episodes, but the only issue I have with it is in the second episode? Really? Like, maybe in the first episode, they'll have, like, 2 or 3 major characters die, but 9 of them all in one episode? Like, there will be literally no one left. So it's just going to be Jon Snow and all of the undead that he has left, because you saw that, you know, Daenerys torches the field or whatever. So it'll literally just be Jon, Dany, and Drogon. And then an injured Viserion, so he's not even going to be fighting at full strength. So you would think that Dany on Drogon would be able to take out the Night King on an injured Viserion. I don't know, man. That just seems like a lot.
I mean, for the most part, I truly believe that the dragons might die by the end of the story. I do believe that. But I don't know if I believe that, like, Bran is gonna die that early, because, like, all this hoopla over the three-eyed raven, and you think that Jon is so on his you see how Jon is telling Arya, no, you're leaving. You think he's not gonna be like that with Bran?
No, he definitely will.
Like, Bran, like, Arya could actually defend. Like, I'm not sure if you remember in the first episode, quote unquote, of this thing, they said that Jon sees that Arya could fight, and he's, like, proud of Arya, right? Bro, if Arya could actually fight, and he's like, no, you gotta go. You think he's gonna leave Bran at like next to a tree? Come on, man.
Bran is a tree, dude. He's a vegetable. I'm just kidding. That's not funny. I don't even know why I said that. You don't have to go silent, Ray, to make it awkward. Like, what the fuck? Ray's like, oh shit, I'm gonna add to that. I'm gonna just go silent. Like radio silence.
I was like I'm not here. like the chat just dropped. Yo, someone donated to you, bro. Joey B.
Oh snap. Thank you, Joey B. And there is no message with that. But thank you, sir. Thank you so much for your kindness. I just sent out a little, like, message thing. Basically, I want you guys to start sending in your questions. We're going to start answering those. We pretty much worked our way through the second episode, and we will be working our way through the third episode. It may be me and Ray, it may be me, Ray, and a few other people, or it may be me and some other people. I'm not really sure yet, but I'm going to be working out an exact schedule for that. But go ahead and start sending them in. Use the question mark emoji. Also, send me your monies. I'm just kidding. If you want to, I'm not going to turn it down, you know, especially since I'm not ad friendly. I guess talking about a completely fictional place that doesn't even exist and has never existed throughout anywhere is offensive, I guess. I don't know. Like, I don't even really know why it's considered not ad friendly, other than the fact that it's extremely violent, which I understand, but there's a lot more violent content out there that is, I guess, considered ad friendly. You know what I mean? So I don't know. It's YouTube is a giant hypocrite, man.
YouTube, they see me rolling. They hate.
I see one. This is from. Let me see. And I'm not going in any particular order. I literally just picked up my phone, and this is the first one.
I have questions here, like, saved.
Okay, cool. I'll hit those. This is just a random one. Like I said, first one that I see, it's no particular order. It's from Justin Spindock, and he says, Q&A, dragons may die except Drogon, or all except, do you think they will find a clutch of dragon eggs? We kind of answered that in the last one. There's a theory that Queen Alicent Targaryen, she actually had the Queen's Gate named after her, and she also had Queenstown named after her as well. She's supposedly left a clutch of dragon eggs underneath Winterfell. I don't know if Jon Snow will find them, but if Drogon's left, we do know that dragons basically go both ways in their sexes, and that they are asexual, so a male or a female dragon can, well, they don't have a gender basically, but they can lay an egg. I've been a long fan of the theory, even though I'm not excited about it, but I honestly think that if the dragons die, like if the Night King is successfully defeated and the Long Night is prevented, the dragons are going to die in that process. And you know, Daenerys and Jon Snow's child lives on. Not necessarily even Jon and Daenerys, but their child lives on to sit the Iron Throne. You know,
like the dragon, the son of their offspring will be the dragon, not necessarily like they'll have a dragon. That's what I also believe. Like, I don't think that they could have like a dragon because it's just going to be more of the same. And like Jon Snow mentioned it in the Spoils of War, it's just going to be more of the same. So I definitely think that the dragons will die. I don't know. I don't think there's eggs. Maybe in the books, you know, in the books, there's going to be a lot more detail. So I can see certain things playing out differently in the books than on the show.
Yeah, and I saw a question from Rocket Man. He says, how are they going to hide Emilia Clarke's baby bump through filming? Well, here's the thing. She's not really pregnant in real life. I don't know if you're trying to make... everyone knows how I feel about Daenerys, and I don't know if he's trying to make a joke about how Jon actually hooked up with her. Maybe she is pregnant, but I don't really like that. Either way, wait, I think that's what...
How do you feel about her? I don't know.
What do you mean?
How do you feel about Emilia Clarke, or what you call it?
Bro, you know how I feel about Daenerys. Come on.
I don't.
House Targaryen... Just think back.
Oh yeah. I remember now.
Come on, man. Me and Evie.
Yeah, I just remember that. Yeah. Definitely.
Fire and fucking blood. You don't remember what I wanted to name our group, bro?
Yeah.
Three heads of the dragon
or something. I was like, yeah, we're not doing that. I was like, yeah,
you're not a Targaryen fan. I feel you.
No, I mean, I love me some Targaryen. Don't get me wrong. But I mean, yeah, I remember. Although all of it is just coming back all at once. Although, yeah, I remember. Definitely.
Did you want to get to one of the? Oh, we just got a super chat. Oh snap! Yeah. We got another from Joey B. He's trying to become the MVP of the night. He says Tormund dying would essentially be end of the free folk, like end of the wildlings. I mean, there may be a few left. What do you think, Ray?
What happened?
Tormund would, like, basically if Tormund dies, that would be like the end of the free folk.
I mean, I really think that the free folk will have a bigger picture down the line with everything, like with the way that the world might be. Because remember, Jon Snow has kind of adapted this whole mentality of like, and we saw that they elected him king. So in theory, I think they will die, but I think that their legacy will live on in a way. You know what I mean? Their customs.
Hell yeah. It's and I feel like there a few of them can slip through the crack. You would think that most of them would have died at the Battle of the Bastard, but we've seen so many. We've seen they're sprinkled here and there. All right. Did you have a question? Didn't you say you had some questions?
Yeah, I have a couple here. All right, because I've been writing them down since we started. All right, so let's start with this one. Bubba Husky says, if there is if there is to be a reincarnation of Azor Ahai with a new Nissa, isn't Gendry the only potential candidate, being as he's the only one she was only necessary to temper the red sword of heroes? And then he said, isn't Gendry the only candidate to be Azor Ahai because he's the only character who could forge it? So he could forge the sword. So what do you think about that? Gendry...
See, that's one thing. I think these stories of old, these fables, these like ancient stories that have been told by so many people are partially incorrect. I don't think he actually stabbed his wife to temper the sword. I think the process of him saving the world from the Long Night meant he had to lose her in that process. So maybe he had to sacrifice because he left her alone undefended to go and like fight for the greater good, and maybe she died in that process. I don't think the Lightbringer has to be a literal sword either. I think honestly it could be argued that Daenerys is Azor Ahai and that her Lightbringer is her dragons, and Khal Drogo had to die in order for her to bring them into the world. You know what I mean?
And it's funny. My take on the whole Azor Ahai thing is it kind of all goes in together with Jon Snow, Rhaegar, and Lyanna. The way I see it, and I did a video on this, selfless plug, check it out. Jon Snow is Azor Ahai on my channel. I mean,
you said selfless plug? You mean shameless plug?
A little plug, a shameless plug. Yeah,
there's no such thing as a selfless plug. Literally what it is. But I'm sorry. Go ahead.
But Jon Snow is Lightbringer. That's my theory right there. But that I did. But basically, the way I see it and the way that I've interpreted it myself is that possibly Rhaegar is Azor Ahai. Lyanna was Nisa Nisa in terms of she gave her life. Her heart, her soul is basically her son. Her soul lives on through her son, and it's basically kind of part of her lives on through Jon, right? And he is the one that is bringing light to the situation that's happening up north. He's the one that's uniting everybody to face up against the White Walkers and the Night King, and he kind of is bringing light to everything. You know what I mean? And through Jon Snow, Lightbringer, comes the prince that was promised, because everybody has them associated. So his child of maybe Daenerys will be the prince or princess that was promised. That's how I saw it, and that's what I think. Like I said, check out my video. I'm not gonna go into all the specifics. Check it out. But yeah, that's just my thought on that. That's how I think it was. I think that Nisa Nisa was maybe Lyanna. Her son, her soul lives on through, because they said that the soul combined with the sword, right? So I'm like, Jon Snow is part of his mom. His part of his mom lives on through Jon Snow. So I'm like, yeah, why not? Makes sense. Check it out.
Hell yeah. And then I have a question real quick. This is from Alexandria. She is wrench status. She says, Q&A, what is dead may never die are the words of House Greyjoy. Maybe the Night King is a Greyjoy. They're known for screwing over the Starks. I think the Night King, if he is like from a high house in Westeros or a higher house, highborn is what I was trying to say. I think he's a member of House Stark. I don't necessarily think he's a member of the Ironborn. I do know that they're referring to, them drowning and then coming back to life and then worshiping the drowned god. And if you look at it from a religion standpoint, then the Night King is the other. You know what I mean? And I guess you could argued that I honestly think there are only like legit two gods, and that's R'hllor, and then, well, okay, three. The many-faced god of death, R'hllor, and then, someone who has to oppose R'hllor, which is the opposite of, and that's actually included in his religion. There's like two sides to R'hllor. One is the side that does everything in the light and that, wants everything, basically the good side, the Lord of the Light. And then there's also his evil side, which does everything in the shadows. So basically his opposite. You know what I mean? And I think like the Night King would be more as his opposite. He does, you see, like he has to really only shows up when the clouds are gone. So he does everything in the shadow. I know that sounds really silly, but he shows up with the storm. I think that's where you're getting that from, but I don't know if the drowned god necessarily can relate to, if we look at it from a religion standpoint.
I mean, one, I'm gonna say this. Everyone in the chat, I see like Marie said that her questions have been missed. I do write them down. We'll get to them. It's just that, sometimes we pick up on some in the chat, but I have everyone's questions who have been writing. I try to take them, write them down. So bear with us. But basically my thought on that, it's funny because I had that question written down here as well. My thoughts on that is, I think that Beric put it best, to be honest. I think that when Beric said death is the enemy, the first enemy and the last, I think that is legit how everything is. I think that death is the only god, and for death to have any power, people have to live. You know what I mean? So it kind of brings a balance to everything. If you look, all the gods have one thing in common: death. You know what I mean? Life and death. And for you to die, you have to live. So that's the way that I see it. That's my point of view on it. I've been wanting to do a video on that, because basically the way I see it is like Beric said it, right? Death is the first one, it's the last. We know that the Faith of the Seven has the Stranger. We know that R'hllor, you need to burn people sometimes, high-powered people to appease R'hllor, because it wants death. We also see that the Night King brings death. You know what I mean? He's serving death. He's appeasing it. So at the end of the day, I think that death is the only god. That's the only god out there. That's the only entity. And for you to die, you need to live. So that's my point of view on it. But that is a great question. I don't think that it has anything to do with the drowned god, though.
Yeah, she was saying it was a tinfoil theory. I omitted that part just because I wanted to make her look silly. I'm just kidding. I have another one here. This one's from Lila, and she says, Sir Hunts, Q&A. I do think Bran will not make it when I do think Bran will not make it when everything is said and done, but do you think it's possible he can get stuck somewhere instead of dying? They hinted a few times about staying too long. Like, basically, he would die because he stayed in a Weirwood vision for too long. I definitely think his fate may go out like that. I had mentioned that I think the Night King is going to be fought on a physical plane, but also in the Weirwood net. And in that Weirwood net, Bran could stay there too long, like sacrifice himself, because he knows he's the only way he can defeat him is by holding him, like restraining him in that realm physically or whatever, or restraining him in the Weirwood net. And by doing that, he have to stay longer than, you know, the average recommended time, and then he becomes trapped, and he knows that willingly and does it to save everyone.
Basically, I don't know. I think that might come into play in the future with the whole if you stay too long, you'll drown. It might be something that he has to bait the Night King into staying too long himself, you know what I mean, into a vision. So I think there's different things in it. But we do have more questions here. You want to check some of these out?
Sure.
All right, so
let's get one from Marie real quick, because I remember she had said.
Yeah, I was gonna say I have here 2 questions from Marie. I could answer one really quick.
Yeah, let's do one so we can get some of the other people, because I know there's a few people that we missed too.
No, I was gonna say because one of them is like really quick. It's towards me.
Okay.
Will Ray ever love Sansa?
I saw that one.
Don't wait on it. Don't wait too much on it. Probably. Let's see next.
Don't
season.
hold your breath.
Yeah, don't hold your breath. And the other question was the Dragon Pit scene this season foreshadowing of what is said in the leaks? I think based off of what, because remember, season 7 was leaked. So since it was already known what was going to happen, the person could have built everything around that scene. So I don't know. What do you think?
I agree. I completely agree with you with that. You know, it's like you only know it because you had seen that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Was that?
I have more questions here if you want more.
Okay, I was about to say, because I saw one from, this is a new face. I haven't seen this person here, and I always like to try to, you know, get those too. This is from username Idrissa Cisse, and I think I said that wrong. But he says, do you think Tyrion will wed Sansa? Honestly, that is like the perfect match. Like, he was a gentleman towards her. I don't really see anyone being of high enough caliber for her to marry, especially since she's like, you know, she's Lady of Winterfell or whatever. I don't think she's gonna. The only other option would be in the novels. She's obviously gonna marry Robin Arryn. God, I couldn't think of his name. I guess his name is Robert in the book. See, that's what happens. It's Robin for the TV show because there were too many Roberts. Damn it. But yeah, no. I definitely think that could happen. I would like to see, because it would be like a nice full circle. Like, Tyrion is obviously not going to be able to get with Daenerys, even though he's in love with her. And, you know, Sansa, marriage is what you need to solidify alliances for the future. So I would like to see Tyrion get with Sansa. What do you think, Ray?
I mean, technically, you could be like they are married already. So, but I don't know. Like, I just see Sansa has gone through so much ish that she probably might just be like, you know what, I'm not dealing with this. Like, nobody's ever gonna make me marry. I don't see Sansa marrying again. I don't know why. There's something about her character. Yo,
yeah, see, we got a super chat from Beth Anderson. She says, Rayz, thank you. You answered my Q&A about the prince that was promised. She agrees with you. Thank you for that, Beth.
Yeah, I mean,
like, basically how you were saying you think it's Jon, you know?
Yeah, I mean, I think that Jon is Lightbringer, and I really think that the prince that was promised is going to be like their offspring. Like Jon and Daenerys' offspring, because they said it was going to come from that line of the Mad King and his sister. So I definitely think that somehow, some way, we will see, like, you know what I mean? We'll I don't think that necessarily it is, because it seems like it's going to be one person. You know what I mean? So I think that at the end of the day, when it's all said and done, I think it will be the son or the I don't know. I think it'll come from that. You know what I mean? From that union of Daenerys and Jon.
Yeah, I see that there's a question from Justin Spindock, real quick, and then we're going to jump back to the questions that Ray had written down. He says, who created the giant 5 forts in the east of Essos? Basically, they mirror the 6, is it 6 forts that are on the wall in Westeros? Is it 6 or is it 4? Or is it 5? I have no idea. But either way, I think those 5 forts were created by the god emperors of the ET. I think you're getting at that it was kind of a mystery because their history isn't as well documented as Westeros. But I definitely think that we do know that Essos has, like, the stories of the Long Night. There's stories that come from Essos as well. So maybe those were made by the god emperors of the ET. Those being like Harlow, Chok, Ling, Lotho, Jarhar, you know, the 9 eunuchs, people like that. Yeah, that's right. I whipped out my copy of The World of Ice and Fire. It's sitting right next to me. Why would I not use it? I can read y'all a paragraph from there real quick. All right, let's do it. Off the lands that lie east beyond the 5 forts, we know even less. Legends and lies and travelers' tales are all that reach us from these far places. We hear of cities where the men soar like eagles on leathern wings, of towns made of bones, of race of bloodless men who dwell between the deep valley, the dry deep, and the mountains. Yeah, that's right. That's right. World of Ice and Fire in this mother. All right, Ray, let's get to some of those questions you had, sir.
All right, so let's see. All right, answer that one. This is one from Hi, I'm Allison, and she says, at Sir Hunt's Q&A, so do you think Howland Reed showing up is dead, or are we going to see him?
I would like to see him in a flashback to the Turn in Harrenhal. We never got it, and I guess we kind of don't need it now that we saw Rhaegar and Lyanna getting married, but I'd like to see the relationship in bloom, you know, where it first started off. I'd also like to see the Night of the Laughing Tree. George is definitely going to revisit the Turn in Harrenhal in the books. I just don't know. I feel like if this dude shows up with an army, why would he have not done that when Ned Stark died? And he could go help Robb. You know what I mean? Was there something mentioned about that? Like, no, it wasn't even brought up. That, like, yo, Howland Reed, the Chronogmen, Greywater Watch, you know, they're loyal to House Stark. Let's call for them. You know what I mean?
I mean, I don't know. I think that he would come in handy, but since they've been rushing the season, I think that it really doesn't matter. If they keep true to how they did it this season, they are definitely just going to brush him over. Like, I just don't see it happening. Realistically, I don't see any need to cast anybody as Howland Reed. But you want to move on to the next question?
Yes, sir.
All right, let's see. This comes from Beth Anderson. She says, so what do you think is Bran's endgame? What is Bran's role exactly is what I'm asking. Beth Anderson. Did we ask that already?
I feel like, hang on, read it one more time.
She said, so what do you think is Bran's endgame? What is Bran's role exactly is what she's asking.
I kind of mentioned that when I was saying how I thought, you know, Bran could go out in the Weirwood net, since we know that Night King is going to have to be fought on 2 fronts. And I say this every time I bring up this theory, but this was actually happened. Like, I had Kyle from Azor Hype. Shout out to Azor Hype. I had him on my channel and we were discussing the motives behind the Night King, and we were talking about in-game what could happen. And he mentioned that the Night King is not a regular White Walker and he has to be killed in a certain way. And, you know, we both kind of agreed that it's not going to be like an average Valyrian steel sword, which would make sense because he's not a regular White Walker, so he has to be killed in a special way. And I thought it would be perfect if we have them being fought on the physical front, like, you know, Jon Snow and Daenerys fighting the army of the dead, and then you have Bran fighting him in the Weirwood net. You've noticed that all these little interactions that Bran has had with the Night King bests him like immediately. It's almost like they're dueling, and the Night King just gets over on Bran like immediately. You know what I mean? I saw we got a super chat from Marie. Thank you for that. Those are Australian dollars. She says, thanks, Mark and Ray, for a great chat. Well, thank you. This is fun. It's like we're just hanging out and you guys are, you know, that's what's up. That's awesome. Thank you, Marie.
Shout out to Marie Hill. Check her out.
Yeah, make sure you go subscribe to her channel. I almost forgot to say that. I'm sorry.
She has some awesome stuff too, man.
Yeah, I was about to say, Ray, if you want, you can drop the link in the chat. A link to her channel. Make sure you guys go check that out and subscribe.
What you call it? I will definitely put Marie's link in the chat. But before, let me ask you another question we have here. We have a question from Jordan Paulson. Sorry if I'm it's the Latin thing. It's like the Latin butchering. But again, let's see. I'm not familiar with the power of a direwolf. Curious how ghosts can be used next season to defeat the Night King.
You take that one.
What are your thoughts on that?
You take that one.
He's like, you take that one.
Well, no, because I just did the one with Bran. I didn't want to, you know.
I mean, for the most part, I truly believe that Bran, we saw when Bran was in the whole hold the door situation, we saw that Summer was taken out relatively easy. I think that it would be good for Bran, I mean for Ghost to be near Jon and not be like in a crowded situation, because he doesn't have like it's a wolf, like, you know what I mean? It's not like a swinging sword or anything. So I think that for the most part, it would be interesting to see what effect Ghost could have on a White Walker, maybe, or if it could like deter a White Walker from killing Jon, because I think that might be like the only situation, or maybe even protect like Sansa to go with Sansa. I don't think that Ghost should be like on an open field very long. But I don't know. I don't think it could do much, because the dragons is because of the fire and it's so huge. You know what I mean? But the show direwolves don't seem that big. I think that would, you know, deter like a White Walker or whites. Like, it could rip a white apart. We saw him save Samuel Tarly once, but a White Walker, man, I don't know. I don't know what it could do there.
I feel like White Walkers have like this superhuman strength, and the only reason why it doesn't immediately destroy Jon is because they're sword fighting, you know.
Yeah.
And Jon's got a Valyrian steel sword. I feel like they would just like destroy. They would obviously Ghost would try to bite him, and then he would just probably punch him in the face. And I see this on a serious note here. Marie was saying, everyone in Florida, make sure y'all stay safe. Definitely, please stay safe. My father is actually down in Florida right now, and he. I've heard from him. He said he was doing fine. But also, we have, you know, several people that watch us that also are down there. Please stay safe. I understand hurricane parties are awesome and they're really fun. When I lived in Florida for a few months, I was witness and partook in a few of those. But just stay safe. Also, super shout out to Peter the Noble. I hope you're staying good, bro. Hope you're staying good. But yeah. Did you have some more questions? Didn't you have one?
Yeah. Yeah. Let's see. This one comes from Alexandria. She said, she's one of the moderators on the chat. She says, "What is your favorite crazy spoiler in all the leaks you went over tonight? Each of you."
Probably the fact that somehow, I mean, I guess Bran dying, but then also like the way that he died, I guess. So I guess Bran dying, because like I can't believe, you know, episode 2, like that doesn't make any sense at all. But the way that he dies is the same way that Jojen died. Also the same way that Hodor died. Yeah, crazy, right? Also the same way that Leaf died. So, you know, we have all those.
I mean, yo, you got another super chat before I answer. From Fred Wicks.
Freddie Wicks, a.k.a. Mr. Tardy to the party. No, I'm just kidding. I know he had work. Work held him up. Thank you, sir. He says, thanks for keeping us entertained during the long night, bro. Everyone, please hit the like button and subscribe. Let's get Mark to 30K subs tonight. Cheers. You're in Florida, too, if I'm not mistaken. I hope you are doing well, Fred. Thank you for that super chat. But yeah, so Ray, what were you saying?
What you call it? The way that I see it, I'm like, the way I watch Game of Thrones, I don't know. I'm probably a little bit different from everybody on this, but I really, 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 really enjoy character interactions. Like, if a situation is awkward, if a situation isn't like pleasant, if they have like, you know what I mean? Like, to me, that is what really makes me like enjoy Game of Thrones like that. So, like, out of everything we've read today, probably my favorite would be like the interaction of Jon in the crypts. If that were to like happen, I would enjoy Jon being like, you know, like, oh my God, like realizing who he is, and him talking to Daenerys and his interaction with Daenerys.
Yeah, that's earth shattering. The one thing he thought he was, he's not.
Yeah, like, you know what I mean? Like, I think that would be like, to me, like the very, like, my favorite thing out of the whole leak, out of this whole thing that we read. I think that would be like, you know what I mean? What would mostly hit me? Like, I would be like, no, that's dope.
I wonder if there's anyone out there, like an average show watcher, who didn't quite get the fact that Jon and Daenerys are aunt and uncle, and they just thought that, like, oh, that's kind of weird. Jon's dad had gray hair too, you know? Like, yeah. I wonder if there's anybody out there who's watching, because I know there is. There's like some people who don't quite understand it and don't realize that there's, you know, YouTubers like me and you that explain this stuff, or just like information in general out there. You know, what do you think?
I mean, there's no doubt there's people out there. I remember last season, like in my job, my job outside of YouTube, of course. I was speaking with this lady, and she watches Game of Thrones, right? And I'm like, oh yeah, Game of Thrones is so much, because I was telling her about the YouTube channel. I'm like, yeah, I have a YouTube channel, and I'm basically describing it to her, and I'm telling her like, look, yeah, I have this YouTube channel, and I have it based off of Game of Thrones. She's like, really? Is there that much in Game of Thrones that you could have a channel off of? And I'm like, of course. There's like so much stuff to talk about. And then I start going on about Rhaegar and Lyanna and Robert's Rebellion, and how John is Daenerys' nephew, and how he's the rightful king, and all of this stuff that we saw this season. And she just had like this dumbfounded look, like,
yeah,
oh wow, like really? I'm like, yeah, that's what they showed in the last episode. She's like, oh, okay,
yeah,
okay, yeah.
My friend from high school, she watches the show. She's one of my few friends that actually does watch it, and she loves it, but it's just hard for, it's hard for anyone to really keep track of.
No, like it is really a lot. Like, I'm not gonna lie, before I even started, like, because I started watching at season 4, so I'm like, when I saw season 4, I was like, okay, cool, dope show. When I saw season 5, I was like, oh hell no, Jon Snow has to live. Like, like what's happening? And then like that thrusted me towards the internet and meeting everyone. And then me and you met, between season 5 and 6, like right before it aired. And like I saw this community, and then I was like, I have to read some of the books before it all comes out. And then I just completed the audiobooks, and it's just like so much. So like, I don't know, that's kind of what happened there. But I do believe that there are people who haven't picked up on, like, even though they put it so out there, I definitely believe that some people didn't pick up on it for sure.
Yeah, because she had messaged me, and she's like, what was Jon Snow's name? And I was like, Aegon. And she's like, why is that such a big deal? I was like
why?
Fucking, I mean, okay, so like, and I had to explain to her, I'm like, do you remember Oberyn from back in season 4? And she was like, who? I was like,
the dude with the
dude who got his head squashed. And she's like, okay. And I was like, yeah, he was always, he's always mentioning about how you raped her, you killed her, you murdered her family. And then, one of the people that he killed, or that he was referring to, was a baby who's also named Aegon. So it's funny in the sense that, yes, he's named Aegon, and that apparently Rhaegar likes to name his kids Aegon. In the books, in the books, supposedly Aegon escaped, and I started going down that rabbit hole and trying to explain to her who Fagon is, and she's just like, okay, whatever. I was like, all right, that's how it is. So, by the way, shout out to Peter the Noble. He made it. Hope you are doing good, Sir Pedro. Ray can speak Spanish. Say, Ray, in Spanish, be like, stay safe, bro.
Cuídate mucho, mano. Cuídate mucho, y todo el mundo que habla en español, que esté fuera de peligro, y ustedes están en nuestro pensamiento y lo tenemos en mente. So, cuídense y lo queremos mucho.
So I hope someone logged in and started watching and was like, what is this?
Just saw that randomly. Yo, give me a minute. I'll be right back.
All right. That was pretty good. And you guys would not believe it, but he's not even Spanish. No. All right. So let's see. Let me grab a question here from the chat. Don't forget to send me your monies. I need monies, you guys. Ray's gone, so now I can say it. Send me your super chats. No, I'm just kidding. This is from Jeremiah, and he says, Q&A. Do you think this past season had too much action, or should we look at the whole series as a long-form movie, and we're at the apex, so most discussion/exposition scenes are behind us? That's definitely how I'm looking at it. It's like, when people complain about the pacing and stuff, I'm like, just watch a regular movie that's not like a Marvel movie who has this vast, expansive cinematic universe. If you look at anything else, the loopholes in the rushing or the plot pacing in Game of Thrones seems mediocre. So I think we should definitely look at it as like a 67-hour long movie, and some of the greatest moments have already happened. Battle of the Bastards, Ned Stark's head getting lost, and just other things like that. I was just answering a question from Jeremiah, and he was saying, do you think we should look at like this past season, saying that it had too much action, or should we look at it as the whole series as a long form movie, and we're at the apex, so most discussion/exposition parts that like develop characters and stuff, those scenes are behind us. So it's like basically some of the best moments of the show.
I do agree that it is getting to a point that everything has to wrap up eventually. So it is what it is. But mean, damn, we still need some talk. I mean, we should have had then this season the Night King and King's Landing, and you know, just everything hit the fan. And I see that Peter the Noble says, "Tú eres Dominicano? You're Dominican?" Yes, I am Dominican. Or not, I was born here, but you know. Hello, mi hermano, my Dominican people out there. Shout out to y'all. Much love to DR too with the hurricane and everybody in the Caribbean because it was insane. So yeah.
Yeah, they got bashed too. That's nuts.
Yeah, the Caribbean islands, man, that went like directly. Yeah. But yeah, I have some more questions, or you want to continue?
Yeah, no, go ahead. Yeah, let's get some more.
All right. Let's see. So I have one here. It says this one comes from let's see, Leela V, and she says, "Do you think the Scorpion can come into play in the Great War to come somehow? Also, do you think that Anderson Cooper is a Targaryen?" I want to answer the Anderson Cooper part. No doubt, he's a Targaryen.
That's so random.
I mean, have you seen that hair?
Carol from The Walking Dead. She's a secret Targaryen as well.
I've never seen one episode of The Walking Dead.
I know, you told me. I didn't even finish last season. Like, I'm not even. I didn't even finish last season. Like, I tried, but I couldn't. It was just so terrible. Like, jeez. But yeah. Sorry. What was the question?
Do you think that the Scorpions can come into play next season somehow?
I mean, you know, we know that Cersei is going to be holding those. So if Cersei is going to be fighting Daenerys, then yes. But I don't think she will be, so I don't think they will. Maybe Jaime can bring him into play against the Night King, and they could use those to take out Viserion and the Night King. Similar to how Bronn did, you know, with Drogon.
Yeah,
don't you think it's crazy they both got hit in the same spot, dude? Like, that same spot in the shoulder.
I mean, it seems like it might be a lethal thing. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, But what do you think? Do you think they could be brought back into play? Honestly, I don't see them unless somehow Jaime's the one who's like, hey, let's use these to try to take out the Night King.
I mean, Jaime, I would imagine maybe some of Jaime's army might have it because, you know, the Lannisters. But for the most part, I don't know, man. I think that it would be interesting because to me, if like it comes like we'll always end up bashing the show somehow when we go back to like, why didn't they do this? Why didn't they do that? Yeah. Like, you would think that they would have taken archers with them with like dragon glass arrows or something. You know what I mean? Like, something like that, you know what I mean? So it is a bit irritating to me, but I think that you would think that maybe in like the final battle, you would have people like at the battle midst of Winterfell and maybe like some type of projectile to like shoot them or something from afar. You know what I mean?
Yeah, some kind of ballista or a trebuchet, something, you know?
Yeah, something out there.
And we likely will because we're having all these different armies with all these different experiences coming together. Like, there's never been an army that diverse before. Like, literally, Daenerys has united an entire continent over there. Okay, she didn't unite the entire continent, and it could be argued that the Bay of Dragons is back to the Bay of Slavery. I know it's not. It's called Slaver's Bay, but I'm just saying if we're keeping with the theme of things. You know, it's crazy. You have all these different people coming together, and I'm sure their techniques, once they all stop arguing and work towards a similar goal, we're gonna see some crazy things happen. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, yeah, we have to see some things play out, certain things. You want to take another one? I have another one here.
Yeah, I was about to say we will take one more question, and then you know, we're getting right at that point where gonna be wrapping it up.
All right. So we have here a question from Lola Dixie, and she says, "What do you think is Gendry's endgame? Assuming he reunites with Arya, do you think they will have a romantic relationship or just friends?" Well, let me start off by saying, you might want to tune in for the upcoming episodes of whatever it is we're doing here with these leaks debunked, because there is a somewhat answer in those leaks, and I don't know if I buy it, whatever is in these leaks, as even a possibility, but I don't know. It would be interesting because when you really look at Gendry is heading towards that whole Lord life. Like, he wants to be Lord of something. He wants to like take over where his father should have been, and you look at Arya. Arya wants everything but that. You know what I mean? She wants to be like a warrior. She wants to travel the world and stuff. So I don't know if they're at the same place right now. What do you think?
I mean, as far as in-game, going into Season 7, I'm like, Arya is not the type to have a relationship with someone, and that would be the in-game with Gendry. But Gendry may be the ones to end up dying, and maybe that kind of makes Arya reel it in for a second. Maybe she won't be so bloodlusty. But I don't know. I mean, in-game, you know, just off bat is obviously you want to see them get together. You know, you have House Baratheon and House Stark finally reuniting. Ned and Robbie B wanted to do that for a while now. Gods, I was strong then, Ned. That's like my favorite. That's one of my favorite memes on the Free Folk subreddit. Is when like the meme will be going one way and then it ends with Robert saying, "Gods, I was strong then." Like, oh man, those are the best ones. All right, so let's see. We will do one more question here, and I saw this. This is from Icy Fury, and he says, "Why is Jon and Dany hooking up so bad?" And then he says, "Tyson Lannister married his cousin." I think he meant Tywin married his cousin. Yes, he did. The difference there is that they were cousins. Jon and Daenerys are aunt and like it's kind of, I don't know, aunt and nephews. There's a big deal with incest in general in the real world, so people are never going to be able to separate the fact that this is a make-believe world because it's still frowned upon there. You know what I mean? It's not something that goes over easy there. I don't know. You know, there's always going to be that issue. I actually saw in my comment section, there was a perfect thread for this. Someone had said, "I don't see what the big deal is about all this incest. It's in a make-believe world and none of the kids have turned out severely messed up." Well, someone commented below that and said, "What the fuck is wrong with you? It's incest and it's disgusting. It doesn't matter what planet you're on, it's still gross." You know what I mean? So it's like you have those complete opposites. So, you know, obviously I think incest is disgusting, and it is that it's happening on Game of Thrones, but it's also like it's I can also see that it's a make-believe world, so really who gives a shit? You know what I mean? Because it's not like they're like Dany's like 20 years older than Jon and they know about that they were aunt and uncle. You know, like that's why the Cersei and Jaime Lannister incest is straight up, I hate it, and it's disgusting because they know that they're twins. You know what I mean?
Like with me, the thing is about this whole situation with, because I'm gonna be honest with you, in the beginning, oh man, I was so not with the whole Jon and Dany thing. I never thought it was even possible, to be honest. But for some reason, I feel that the way that the show has done it and the way that it's been set up is that, like you said, they don't know each other, and you feel like as soon as you saw Cersei and Cersei and Jaime, you knew it was dirty. Like you knew it was like something wrong, like really, really wrong. Like you were like, oh shit, like you know what I mean. But the way that they've conditioned you to see it as something normal, you're supposed to. The reason that they do that, the storytelling goes, is so that you kind of look past it. You know what I mean? You look at it as like something that's more common in this world. The Starks themselves have performed incest in their family before. The Targaryens did it, and it's not like as close as like let's say Jon and Dany are, but it's more innocent because they didn't know that they were family. Like I'm telling you, I was one of the number one. Like I was like, I don't really see that happening. But over time, I mean, it is what it is. It is a story. You have to see it for what it is. If you don't like them together, you don't like them together.
Well, what do you mean? You didn't pick up on the? Because I feel like we knew it's been coming. You know what I mean? It's a long time coming.
I mean,
the union.
I knew that story wise, they should end up together, right? But something in me was like, nah, I just don't see it happening. Like, nah, it just doesn't like add up in my head.
Yeah,
like,
honestly,
it was like, you know what I mean? Like, it just didn't add up to me. Like in my head, I was like, nah, there's something about it. Like, it just didn't click. But then when you look at it, like in the way that they did it on the show, and especially when you go back and you look at it, how many episodes did it take Daenerys to fall in love with Khal Drogo? It was a season. You know what I mean? Yeah. It was like they took like a season,
like 2 episodes.
Not really, like it ended up with the whole raping thing in the first episode, then
which didn't even happen in the books. It's consensual.
No, but like you have that, and then you have like 4 or 5 episodes in where she falls in love, which is basically like 6 episodes. Then he falls into his catatonic state, and then she burns him. You know what I mean? So like it was the same amount of episodes, and then when I looked at it in hindsight, I was like, you know what? They actually did build it up at a certain speed that it makes sense. And the same with even Dario. How many episodes did it take for her to fall for Dario? You know what I mean? And the same with Jon Snow. Jon Snow, it was fairly quickly that he fell for Ygritte. So when you look at it that way, and they don't know that they're related, I look at it as something innocent. But Cersei and Jaime, man, they knew it was weird. Like, you know what I mean? They know, like, you know. And then on top of it,
they've
Jaime
seen each other almost every. Sorry, go ahead.
And then on top of it, you have Jaime pushing Bran out the window because of that relationship. So you have like this negative undertone to that relationship on top of it. You know what I mean? Because of that relationship, Bran is in the situation he's in. You know, so that's just what my thoughts on it. Like that's the way I saw it.
Hell yeah, and it's almost like, well, damn, I had something I was saving from saying it, like what you were saying. Damn, I completely forgot it. Oh well. But yeah, so that was pretty much the last question. We've blown through this episode, and we will be doing a part 3. Like I said, I'm not quite sure on the date and the time, and if Ray is available, hopefully we can have him back on as well. But why don't you go ahead and tell everyone where they can find you at, kind sir?
I mean, everyone can find me, like it says right here at the lower third, right here on the lower screen. It says Rayz De Alba. I'll drop a link right now in the chat. It's also in the description if you guys are watching it late. Rayz De Alba. I'll have videos out probably twice a week during the long night for as long as I could sustain that. I will be having live streams also, so you can check me out there. Hopefully, I'll be able to join, you know, Mark on part 3 and part 4 and all these other ones because it's fun doing
6. Yeah, 6 episodes total. So this will be a 6-part series.
Yeah. So, you know, I'm definitely down. You know, just got to see if I'm available. But, you know, like I said, check me out. I have a video coming out tomorrow on Tyrion and Daenerys and the downfall of Daenerys. So check that out. Subscribe. Remember to drop a like on this video and subscribe to Mark if you're not, because, you know, he's holding it down. Thanks, Mark, for having me on.
No doubt, bro. All right. So with that being said, if you would like to be entered into my contest for once we finally reach 30,000 subscribers here on YouTube, all you have to do to enter that contest, and you can win a lovely mystery Funko Pop Game of Thrones figure. All you have to do to enter that contest is like this video, subscribe, leave a comment down below, and then hop on Twitter and follow me at Sir_Hunts. Got a bit ahead of myself here. The like goal for this video will be 250. Let's see if we can smash that. Please go ahead and subscribe. Also, turn your notifications on so that way you get alerted every time I drop Game of Thrones content. I want to thank you all so much for rocking with me and Rayz De Alba. Please have a good night. And if you're in Hurricane Irma's way, we'll get the fuck out of her way and find higher ground. Thank you all again. Later. You gotta say bye, Ray.
Bye. Yo, peace, everybody.
All right, y'all. Peace.